and welcome to the Your Worth It Show. I am your host, Setra, and my prayer is that you hear something that will inspire you on this show today. Today, we are talking about single and dating. Yes. And I would like to welcome my guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I have some amazing people here in the studio with me. So we'll go ahead, Lola, introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Good. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Is it evening or afternoon? It's afternoon. Okay. So, good afternoon. I'm Lola, Miss Farrakhan, or whichever one you prefer. I reside in Dallas. I'm originally from Detroit. I am currently single, per se. You know how that goes. But hey, I'm here. I'm single. We're gonna go on and pass it on to my fellow.
All right. My name is Art. I'm originally from Detroit as well. Living out here in Dallas for the last 14 years or 10 years now. 45. And for you ladies, I am over 6 feet.
Over 6 feet. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joshua Patterson. I go by the pen name The Chronicler. That's also my Instagram handle. I am 29 years old. I'm a very passionate artist and designer. I'm also a two-time self-published author. I got another book in the works, and I am presently dating.
Absolutely. I feel like I should have said more about myself. I didn't know we was giving a whole
Okay,
I ain't
go ahead. What you
No,
want to add
it's
up in here?
totally okay. Listen. I love that. I love
Alright,
that.
that's what
You
I'm
did your thing for that. But next time, let's just get it. Get it to cracking.
Alrighty. Well, hey, I see we got some Detroiters up in here.
Yes.
I am originally from Detroit, been here in Dallas for 12 years now. I am 51, and yes, I am not ashamed to say that. I am 51, and I'm single, y'all. I am out here in these streets single. So we're just going to get right to it, y'all, because that's what this show is about. We are talking about single and dating. So what is your current status, should we say? And it ain't no complicated up in here today, y'all.
Yeah. I think everything is too complicated. And I think that's the one thing that we need to come back from is basically making everything so complicated when it comes to dating. So I like to say I'm single, you know what I'm saying? I'm currently looking or not looking. If it happens, it happens. I want everything to happen organically. So that's the thing that we're struggling with nowadays is things happening actually organically. Everybody comes in with some type of intent. And I just think it's the wrong intentions. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take it back. I think I'm 49, by the way. Hey, just had a birthday on September 29th.
Yeah, happy belated.
Thank you. So I just think, like you asked, of course I'm single. Do I want to spend the rest of my life alone? Absolutely not. Do I feel sometimes that I don't have a choice? Absolutely. It's a lot of work dating these days. It's so much work. It's so much work that you got to put into it, the probing and the questions and the lies. So, of course, but hey, I wish for the best for everybody that's single and those that are dating. So, we'll see.
I definitely feel you on that. I mean, for me, it's definitely complicated out here. I think social media plays a huge role in that. You're getting different ideologies and thought processes from so many different people nowadays, and people aren't really going into relationships authentic, or at least going into the dating field authentic anymore. You're taking what you've heard from this person or what you've heard from that person, and you're trying to bring it all together for how you actually feel. So I mean, I don't know. It's been a problem for me, a big problem for me. To go, I guess maybe a little bit deeper, I've dealt with people who struggle with emotional intelligence, which will be the number one thing for me. That's probably the biggest question or the first question I'll ask, or maybe not even ask. I'm looking for that. Do you have emotional intelligence? So that's kind of been a big deal for me.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of that, what you just said, that's the number one rule for me in dating. It's asking the necessary questions up front. Listen, I am so serious. If I give you my number and I know your intentions is to try to court me or date me or whatever, I'm going to ask the first 3 questions up front. You got to be intentional. You know what I'm saying? You got to ask those hard questions. You got to ask the questions that you must know up front. Because at this point, why would we waste our time to try to figure it all out when you could just simply ask? So that's very important. And that emotional thing, and that is very, very, very important. Good one.
Well, personally, as I mentioned a moment ago, I am currently dating. It's a recent development. There's a young lady I'm seeing who I'm just getting to know. What I want to say when it comes to dating, as someone who's been single most of his life and had time to just really think about that process, I think it's really critical to understand the posture of people's hearts. We like to ask a lot of questions. We want to know about their bedroom performance. We think about, okay, how much am I
Which
going to
is
have
important.
how much am I going to have to give up if we split up? We think about all of these things. How strong does the face card hit? All these colloquialisms we like to make, but we don't oftentimes think about like who someone actually is at their core. I really think it takes a great deal of time to get to know someone. Personally, I am not and never have been what you would call a Mac daddy. I'm really not big on, just rolling up on women in public. I study people really carefully before I consider them, just even for courtship or dating. And I just think that we would just really benefit from taking the time to really look beyond the surface and just giving ourselves time to understand who people are, even outside of the environment we found them in. Not just how they treat us, but even their interactions towards and their treatment of other people. And then just even how they do life day to day. Because one thing that I've learned from my experience, how people, their approach towards life, it also reflects how they may ultimately end up treating you.
Absolutely.
If they're
Absolutely.
irresponsible with their day-to-day affairs, they're going to be irresponsible with the people they handle, even in their relationships.
Preach, young man.
So I'm just really big on my three core principles are patience, discernment, and peace. And like Dr. Cheyenne Bryant recently said, I'd rather take my time in dating than to do time for making a bad decision.
That's right. I
that-
love that.
No,
That
that's
was good.
very
So I have
intentional.
a question for you all. So when it comes to dating and when you were dating, do you prefer to just, date that one person and just see where it goes? Or do you like to date multiple people and kind of like a any, mini, miny, mo?
I've been all over the board with that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've dated multiple women at one time, and then you just kind of find yourself in a scenario where either you start to phase people out or they start to phase themselves out. But then I've also been where I've just tried to focus on one particular individual, and maybe halfway through or however long goes by, right, you start finding out this person is crazy as hell. So it's like, damn, I done wasted all this time with this particular person
Right,
when
okay.
I could have had multiple different options. So it's seasonal. It's seasonal. So
That's a tough question.
yeah,
Right.
it's
How did
crazy.
that go for you, John?
Well, for me personally, I don't have the emotional endurance or the financial acumen to accommodate
okay.
multiple, dating prospects. And then for me, for me personally, I literally, almost feel like I'm cheating on someone, even though, we're not in a relationship yet, by seeing, other women. So for me, I'm the type who, if my focus is on you, it's literally tunnel vision. It's on you alone, and I'm in the process of doing my research. And, just life has just taught me to be, really careful, with that. But I'm real strong on intentional dating. That's something you'll find throughout the course of this interview. And I just, believe that it's okay, to focus, on one individual. We almost treat people like food sometimes. You'll hear, I've even heard in other interviews where it's like, you're going to get bored, seeing or sleeping with the same person, etc. And we act like, it's almost like the spaghetti I cook during the week. It's like, yeah, eventually I might get tired of it, but at the same time, I think there can be long-term benefits from mastering the art of cooking that spaghetti. So
Right.
for me, I just really believe in, learning how to patiently just find, the value in a person and all of the nuances and the things that make them who they are. Because you could find a diamond in the rough if you wait. long.
True, Lola. Do you focus on one, or do you just have a bunch of them out there and just say, okay, look, you just weed them out?
You probably expected me to say weed them
I
out.
don't know.
Nah. But listen, I prefer one person.
Yeah.
I prefer to solely focus on one person if that is possible. And I get what Art said. It's about wasting your time, and nobody wants to waste their time, especially at this big old age, So, but my mind and my attention span and everything that I got to give won't spread across. I can't spread myself thin like that. I would rather focus on one person and put my all into that if it's being reciprocated. Now, that's one thing. Now, if I am focusing on one person, right, and I'm giving that person a shot or whatever, and this I'm doing 100 and it's not being reciprocated, then I'll start to like, okay, I might have to taper off because you only can give so much, you only can do so much, and it takes two people to actually put in that effort at 100%. But needless to say, I'd rather just put all my time into one person. But I surely get you saying that you don't want to waste your time because that often that happens so
Yeah.
often. You know, I had totally given up on dating. Like, okay, so I'm going to date this one person, and then it doesn't work out, and here I am starting all over with somebody else, and then I got to meet somebody. I got to put myself in the position to meet somebody else. That's work in itself. You work from home. I work from home. I don't hang out as much, you know. So it's like, oh my God, I'm doomed. I had to start all over. So that's the downside of dating one person. You don't have nobody else to fall back on. Get it?
Right. That's true because I have two friends, two girlfriends, and they told me, one told me, oh, well, you should just, focus on one and just give him your all and see how it goes. Where I have another friend, she said, you know what, girl, date them all. Date them all. And
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I
I'm
hear
like
that
you.
so often.
I am so intentional right now where I don't have time to just be dating this guy and that guy. But then goes back to what Art says. Now you didn't given this person, all of you, and now what if you find out, okay, this person been playing with me from day one.
God.
Now you didn't just waste the time and now go back to you. Now you got to start all over again. And it's just like, at some point you get tired. Like, as I said, I'm 51 and I'm just like, I can't believe the stuff that's going on. Out here dating. I can't believe that I'm actually even dating at this age, but it is what it is. So what is one a good question that you will want to know up front when you're first meeting that person? What is something you just got to know up front to know if you're going to move forward? Go ahead, Art.
Ooh,
What is very important to you? Because I know, maybe how is she raised or what is her beliefs or...
that's important, but I guess one thing I guess it's more so like, do you have grace?
Ooh, that's
You
a good
know,
one.
do you have grace? And like, do you know men from a biological standpoint? Like, can you deal with me as a man? Because there's some egos that come along with me. Like, so are you able to deal with me in a way that doesn't usurp my authority as a man, or they kind of tramples on my ego? So there's a lot of women I don't think has that subtle, what's the word I'm looking for? They just don't know how to deal with men. Kind of speaking aggressively or just having a soft undertone. So I'm having a hard time finding my words right now, but I
That's
think
okay.
brother might know what I'm talking about.
Go ahead, help him out, Josh. Go ahead, help him out.
Oh, for
What is important for you? What is one thing that you would want to know when you're first, like when you were first dating, when you first met the one you were in a relationship? What was the one thing that was important to you to know that
Honestly,
you were going to move forward?
and I'm glad I'm getting it out early because some people would call it a cliche question, but just do you honor God? Do you respect Him and honor Him with your life? The kind of woman I'm looking for has to love God more than she loves me, because I think her reverence for Him, for her Creator, is also going to influence everyone that she treats on this natural plane. So her vertical influences her horizontal. And that's also important because as somebody who's dating on purpose, I need someone who is what I call a purpose partner. A lot of times we look for SOUL mates, the type of soulmates who are supposed to, finish our sentences, who like what we like, who happen to wake up at the same time we get up in the morning. But we're not looking for SOLE mates, the soulmates who are actually designed to run with us through life's marathon. So for me, I'm just thinking, not just in terms of who we are to each other, but in terms of what we're called to do as a husband and wife who work together. So for me, that's one of the most critical things, is just somebody who is actually, compatible in terms of their ability to handle the workload that's going to be placed on both of us, as we decide to build a family and as we decide to fulfill, our aspirations, whether it's business-wise, ministry-wise, right, and then domestic as well. That's one question. If I could add an additional, maybe at least as an honorable mention, I'd like to know how she's handled where she's already been. One thing that I've seen just in terms of my dating experience or even seeing young ladies is there's a major issue with trauma. You have a lot of people, and it's not just women. I want to put that out there right now. It's not just women, because
Right.
men have that issue as well.
Right.
But in general, you have a lot of people who have hurt before and they haven't quite fully healed. So what they oftentimes end up doing is they end up bleeding on the next person that they meet. And before you know it, they're treating you the same way that they would process their ex if they ran into them again.